talk about something that I don't usually say out loud. Not because it's dramatic, not because it's shocking, neither of those reasons, but because it's been constant. Since 2016, I haven't just lived with illness, I've lived under doubt. When my symptoms first started, I didn't have a language for them. I didn't have a diagnosis. I didn't have proof. I didn't know what was going on, what was happening to me. What I had was a body that had just stopped out of nowhere behaving the way that it used to. And from the very beginning, the question that I received, that wasn't what's happening to you. The question that I was asked was on repeat. It was, are you sure? Doctors, they ran tests that came back normal. So the story became that nothing was wrong, that I was fine. Not that medicine didn't know yet, not that the nervous system is complex, just nothing. And when authority figures treat your suffering like it's a mistake, other people follow. Friends, family, strangers, they all follow. The disbelief, that spread faster than my symptoms themselves. I was told I was anxious, that I was stressed, that I was focusing on my own body too much. I was told that repeatedly. I was told that if I stopped thinking about it, that it would stop happening. It would just go away. But it didn't. Instead, my symptoms, they changed. They fluctuated. They got harder for me to explain. And to be honest, that made people more suspicious, not less. I learned very quickly that inconsistency, it makes people uncomfortable. If you're sick, they want it to look one way, sound one way, progress one way. When it doesn't, they assume intent, that you are exaggerating, that you are confused, that you are making it worse. I started noticing how carefully I had to behave. I started noticing that very easily. If I rested too much, I was lazy. If I pushed through, I was obviously perfectly fine. And if I spoke clearly one day and then struggled the next day, that was a red flag. And my body, it became evidence. Every single movement, every single good day, every single bad day, I learned to rehearse explanations, to soften my language, to say I'm okay, even when I wasn't. Because the truth, it made people uncomfortable. At some point, the stigma, it became louder than the illness itself. It really did. I wasn't just managing my symptoms. I was managing perception. I watched misinformation shape how people treated me. That FND isn't real. That it's psychological. That it's attention seeking. That if you really wanted to get better, you would. That it was that easy, and it was in your control. I watched people reduce a neurological condition into a personality flaw. And I internalized more of it than, to be honest, I want to admit. I questioned myself. I minimized my pain. I pushed past limits that I definitely shouldn't have. Not because it was healthy, but because I wanted to be believed. And that cost me. There were crashes that I didn't need to have, symptoms that worsened, fear that settled into my nervous system, because safety, it felt conditional. Being believed, it felt temporary, like it was going to disappear at any moment. One wrong moment, and it could just be taken away. Just like that. What people don't understand is that stigma isn't abstract. It shapes outcomes. It delays care. And to be honest, it discourages honesty. It teaches people to hide instead of heal. And when you live like that for years, it changes how you exist in the entire world. You shrink. You calculate. You disappear when things get hard because explaining, it costs you too much. And since 2016, I have waited for awareness to grow. I've waited for understanding, for better training, for less suspicion. And for a long time, it didn't come. That language, it stayed the same. The accusations stayed the same. The doubt stayed the same. Different words, but the same disbelief. And that's why I'm telling you this story now. Not to convince skeptics, not to defend myself, but to name what so many people live with quietly. Chronic illness doesn't just damage the body. Disbelief, it damages trust. Trust in doctors, trust in other people, trust in yourself. If you've lived under that kind of scrutiny, I want you to know something. You didn't imagine it. You were not too sensitive. And it wasn't your fault. It wasn't. The problem was never that your illness was invisible. It was that people refused to listen to what you had to say. And if you're someone watching this who has doubted, questioned someone because you didn't understand this. No one chooses a life this complicated for attention. No one benefits from being disbelieved. Since 2016, I have learned a lot about the nervous system. But I've learned even more about people. About how uncertainty scares them. About how quickly empathy disappears when something can't be explained easily. And about how powerful belief actually is. Not as a cure. Belief doesn't cure, but as a foundation. Because care cannot exist where doubt is the default. This video isn't about blame. It's about truth. And the truth is this. Living with chronic illness is hard. Living with chronic illness under constant suspicion, that's harder. And no one should have to do it alone.